Thank you, Baba.
Time for prayer.
O worthy God, the preserver and protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You are without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible, and none can see you but with eyes divine. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere, you are in everything, and you are also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest, on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the Creator, the Lord of Lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. You are knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all-knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and the future, and you are knowledge itself. You are all-merciful and eternally benevolent. You are the soul of souls, the one with infinite attributes. You are the Trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the Ancient One, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are the beyond God and the beyond God also. You are Parabrahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yastan, Ahura Mazda, and God the Beloved. You are named Isa, the only one worthy of worship. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most especially for every lustful thought and every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also we repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for our constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more, and more and more, and still yet more, till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Dhamma till the very end. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Good morning, everyone. Evening or afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome to Arti. If you wish to share something, you can digitally raise your hand, or Roshni or myself will call on you. So I will start with the song while we get some hands raised. And this is a song by John Lennon, but I heard Jim Meyer play it the other day with some modified words, and I thought that I would play that today. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither wildly as they slip across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. Jai Meher Baba, Meher Baba has changed my world. 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 Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Jai Meher Baba, Meher Baba has changed my world. Meher Baba has changed Meher Baba has changed my world. Sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, exciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love which shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. Jai Meher Baba. Meher Baba has changed my world. 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 Jai Meher Baba. Jai Meher Baba. Jai Baba. Roshni?
I got lost in your song, Joe. Okay. We'll begin with a lovely song from Hutokshi and Marukanti.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
मौन में रहने वाले बाबा, 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 तेरी जयकार, जय जयकार, जय जयकार। तूने मुझे बुलाया मेहर बाबा, मैं आया मेहर बाबा। ओ तूने मुझे बुलाया मेहर बाबा, मैं आया मेहर बाबा। ओ मेहर बाबा, ओ अवतारा, ओ पालनहारा, तूने मुझे बुलाया मेहर बाबा, मैं आया मेहर बाबा। सारे जग का तू रखवाला, सारे जग का तू रखवाला, तू ही मेरा पालनहारा, तू ही मेरा पालनहारा। तू अवतारी मेहर बाबा, तू अवतारी मेहर बाबा। तो मैं रह ना पाया मेहर बाबा, मैं आया मेहर बाबा। ओ तूने मुझे बुलाया मेहर बाबा, मैं आया मेहर बाबा। आरती उतारूं बाबा मैं हर रोज तेरी, आरती उतारूं बाबा मैं हर रोज तेरी। मैं तो बजूं मेहर को शाम सवेरे, मैं तो बजूं मेहर को शाम सवेरे। सुख में दुख में तुम साथी मेरे, सुख में दुख में साथी मेरे। तू ही सबको संभाले मेहर बाबा, मैं आया मेहर बाबा। ओ तूने मुझे बुलाया मेहर बाबा, मैं आया meherbaba, o meherbaba, o avatara, o palanhara. प्रेम से बोलो मेहर बाबा, सारे बोलो मेहर बाबा, आते बोलो मेहर बाबा, जाते बोलो मेहर बाबा, कष्ट निवारे मेहर बाबा, बाहर तारे मेहर बाबा, 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 मेहर बाबा। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Jai Baba, beautiful. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Jai Baba. Yeah, that was so beautiful, Joe, and so beautiful, Saxony Anita. Thank you so much, Jai Baba. You know, Joe, I don't know if John Lennon said about that song, that was his finest poetry. And that was like his favorite. When a song works, the poetry and the music, but the poetry should stand alone. And that's what he said about that song.
Wow, I didn't know that. It's great.
Anyway, many of us are in shock this morning of yesterday's auspicious leaving of our dear sister, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And we need this song more than anything now. We need to love each other. And really love, like nothing. Like we've never loved before. Inscribe these words. Inscribe these words. Inscribe these words on your heart, on your heart. Nothing matters but love. Nothing matters but love. Nothing matters but love for God. And if all in all is in everyone and in everything, why can't we just love one another? Brothers and sisters, not we but one. It's time to rise, compassion and love, and take care of each other. Inscribe these words. Inscribe these words. Inscribe these words on your heart, on your heart. Nothing matters but love. Nothing matters but love. Nothing matters but love. Love for God. And if all in all is in everyone and in everything, why can't we just love one another? Brothers and sisters, not we but one. It's time to rise in compassion and love and take care of each other. Inscribe these words. inscribe these words. Inscribe these words in your heart, on your heart, on your heart, on your heart. On your heart. Nothing matters but love. Nothing matters but love. Avatar Meherbaba Ki Jai.
Thank you, Michelle. It was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
We do need that message
Michelle.
today.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
I said it's the message we need to hear today.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Rashni?
Thank you, Michelle.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Rati? Rati? Can you unmute?
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Jai Baba. Every song I sing finds its way to your feet. Every tear I shed dances to the beat of your love, of your love, of your love. You are love. So many times you turned around, knocked upon my door. We love it. Your name in my heart will remain. Your name, Zarathustra, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Yesu, Allah, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. Every song I sing finds its way to your feet. Every tear I shed dances to the beat of your love, of your love, of your love, of your love. Every time I turn around, knock before the door, you love it. Your name in my heart will remain. Your name, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय.
Jai Baba. Mikhail, go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, all places of the world. in the West, in the East, and the Middle East. It is New Year here. Today is the New Year, starting the New Year. We're all in lockdown for 3 weeks. And I would like to sing, oh, Betty, you're here. Lemon Mommy, hi. You're back home. That's wonderful. Ah, good. I would like to sing a New Year song. So Shana Tova, that's a good year. It's a song the children sing. I'm kindergarten teacher. Shana halcha, Shana ba'a, va'ani kapayarima. Shana Tova lecha baba, Shana Tova lecha bauji, Shana Tova במרמני, שנה טובה לכולנו, שתהיה זאת שנה של ברכה, שנה של התקרבות למהר בבא, שנה טובה, שנה טובה. אהוב אבטר, מהר בבא, קיצ'י, צ'ילה.
Thank you, Makal. Roshni?
That was beautiful. Sita? Sita, can you unmute?
Now you can hear?
Yes.
You can hear? I can sing?
We can't see your video.
Okay, one more. Huh? Now you can sing?
No, Sita. Yes. Sita?
Now you can sing?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
I can sing? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Jai Baba to everyone. Hey Baba, तेरे बंदे हम, ऐसे हो हमारे करम, नेकी पर चले, हर बदी से टले, ताकि हंसते हुए निकले दम. है बाबा तेरे बंदे हम, ऐसे हो हमारे करम, नेकी पर चले, हर बदी से टले, ताकि हंसते हुए निकले दम. ये अंधेरा घना छा रहा, तेरा इंसान घबरा रहा. ये अंधेरा घना छा रहा, तेरा इंसान घबरा रहा. हो रहा बेखबर, कुछ न आता नजर, सुख का सूरज छुपा जा रहा. है तेरी रोशनी में जो दम, तो अमावस को कर दे पूनम. नेकी पर चले, हर बदी से टले, ताकि हंसते हुए निकले दम. है बाबा तेरे बंदे हम, जब ज़ल्मों का हो सामना, तब तू ही हमें थामना. जब ज़ल्मों का हो सामना, तब तू ही हमें थामना. वो बुराई करे, हम भलाई भरे, नहीं बदले की हो कामना. बढ़ उठे प्यार का हर कदम, और मिटे बैर का ये भरम. नेकी पर चले, हर बदी से टले, ताकि हंसते हुए निकले दम. है बाबा तेरे बंदे हम, है मेहर तेरे बंदे हम. बड़ा कमजोर है आदमी, अभी लाखों है इसमें कमी. बड़ा कमजोर है आदमी, अभी लाखों है इसमें कमी, पर तू जो खड़ा है दयालु बड़ा, तेरी कृपा से धरती थमी, दिया तूने हमें जब जन्म, तू ही झेलेगा हम सबके गम, नेकी पर चले हर बदी से टले, ताकि हंसते हुए निकले दम, है बाबा तेरे बंदे हम, है बाबा तेरे बंदे हम, है मेहर तेरे बंदे हम, है मेहर तेरे बंदे हम, है बाबा तेरे बंदे हम। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Jai Baba. Thank you, Sita. Okay, Tim, go ahead.
Thank you.
Jai Baba to all. Here's a sing-along. O Meher Baba, O Meher Baba, O Meher Baba, Avatar. Meher Baba, now that you're beside me, it's hard word that you guide me. There can be no other beloved and lover, all in you. Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, Avatar. Meher Baba, no tune could I carry, love denied, love deeply buried, always ending up nowhere. Now Meher, my heart belongs to you. Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, Avatar. Meher Baba, you gestured to follow and asked would I give my all. Oh, the secret in dying is in all things trying to please you. Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, Avatar. Meher Baba, the distance to cover is managed by the lover who travels most lightly, who holds most tightly onto you. Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, Avatar. Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, oh Meher Baba, Avatar. Meher Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thanks, Tim. A great sing-along.
Jai Baba.
Thank you.
Bhiku, please unmute.
Can you hear me? Hey, Baba. आए रे, आए रे, आए रे, आए तो खुल के फिर से सावरिया, लेके जादू की अपनी बांसुरिया, फिर से सुनाने आए रे आए रे आए रे आए रे आए गोकुल के फिर से सावरिया लेके जादू की अपनी बांसुरिया सबको सुनाने आए रे आए रे आए रे आए रे जिसने गीता सुनाई अर्जुन को जिसने गीता सुनाई अर्जुन को साग खाया विदुर जी के घर को साग खाया विदुर जी के घर को जिसने पागल बनाया गोकुल को जिसने पागल बनाया गोकुल को वही यशोदा के प्यारे कुंवरिया वही यशोदा के प्यारे कुंवरिया वही यशोदा के प्यारे कुंवरिया सबको सुनाने आए रे आए रे आए रे आए रे अनहद का संगीत अमर शांति का गीत अनहद का संगीत अमर शांति का गीत सुन के जागे सत्प्रीत सत्य होता प्रतीत सुन के जागे सत्प्रीत सत्य होता प्रतीत विमत होश ब्रिज की लालनिया विमत होश ब्रिज की लालनिया ऐसी मधुर मोहन की मुरलिया ऐसी मधुर मोहन की मुरलिया विमत होश ब्रिज की लालनिया विमत होश ब्रिज की लालनिया फिर से सुनाने आए रे आए रे आए रे आए रे देखो आए मेहरबा गोकुल को देखो आए मेहरबा गोकुल को मधुसूदन चलो रे देखन को मधुसूदन चलो रे देखन को धन्य हो जाओ लेकर दर्शन को धन्य हो जाओ लेकर दर्शन को जिसने दुनिया को सारी मोह लिया जिसने दुनिया को सारी मोह लिया ऐसी मधुर मोहन की मुरलिया ऐसी मधुर मोहन की मुरलिया जिसने दुनिया को सारी मोह लिया जिसने दुनिया को सारी मोह लिया फिर से सुनाने आए रे आए रे आए रे आए रे आए गोकुल के फिर से सावरिया लेके जादू की अपनी बांसुरिया सबको सुनाने आए रे आए रे आए रे आए रे जय बाबा
Jai Baba. Okay, Jack, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, everybody from the East Coast, and good afternoon in Israel, and good evening in Upper and Lower India. This is a ghazal I think we all can relate to. Acts of life. Dearest beloved, since I continue to find myself on life's stage, amidst the hubbub of unrelenting greed, false love, and anger's rage, I beseech you to help me at least to turn a new page and release my iron bindings from their karmic cage. Forgotten have I as to how to really act, though the stage be set and the audience packed. Words fail me and my brain is racked, for in this heart of mine, without your love, it is crusted over with mundane flack. I desire only to live the life divine and deal with the world in absent mind. Care not what others think in present time, only that I be with you in love sublime. Is this too much, this ardent behest, What is life then without this quest? A yearning of my heart that will never rest, till union with you becomes love's eternal fest. For any act in life without love is devoid of grace, and stings the object to its heart's embrace. And when all I wish is to forever kiss your face, as I forever leave the stage without a trace. My act so far, alas, leaves a lot to be desired. The audience may clap, but they're all so tired. And in all of this posturing, all of us are mired. So, beloved, a boon for us, that in your heart of love, all of our sanskars be fired. This boon, this grace then, if it be your pleasure, to finally experience that eternal treasure, and to breathe out your love, that love without measure, to live for, to die for, all at your leisure. O Ambrose, on life's stage most everyone pretends to be other than that they are not. You must always make amends and suffer the crucible such a life of love portends. It is then that my love and my grace becomes the means to all ends. Thank you.
Beautiful, Jack. Thank you.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome.
Meher, you wanted to read?
This okay. Start.
Please start.
Can you hear me? When mankind becomes completely deaf to the thunder of his silence, God incarnates as man. 9. I have come not to teach but awaken. 10. If drugs could make one realize God, then it's not worthy of being God. Do not search for God outside of you. God can only be found within you, for his only abode is the human heart. 12. Don't worry, all is as I want. Keep calm, don't get excited. 13. Think of me and remain cheerful in all your heart, in all your trials, and I am with you, helping you. 14. The law of karma is imperative and inexorable. It knows no concessions, gives no preference, and makes no exceptions. It dispenses justice. 15. I want you to remain undisturbed and unshaken by the life's curtains. For whether circumstance, they too will be of my own creation. 16. Understanding has no meaning. Love has meaning. Obedience has more meaning, and holding my Dhamman has most meaning. Meher Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank
Jai
you.
Baba.
Marilyn, go ahead.
Jai Baba. Thank you. Another Ocean Waves by Balkat Shori Ghazal. The way of his wish. O Meher, when I sought your pleasure, I failed at every step. But when I forgot myself in seeking you, my life itself became your pleasure. What shall I do in this path of love? The only thing is to allow the wish of the beloved to do everything. I thought of renouncing the whole world and failed. But once I had love for the beloved, everything was renounced without a thought. What shall I tell people about this path of love when there is nothing for me to tell except my experience? Who will understand the secret of love? When I see the beloved threatening my very life, there is nothing to do but bow down at his feet. Doesn't everyone love his life more than anything? I have come to love the beloved more than life, and that is my surrender. Oh, bow, what power do you desire from the beloved? The beloved will make you follow the way of his wish, and this will become your highest power. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Marilyn. Rashni?
Thank you, Marilyn. Kashmira, please unmute, dear.
Okay. Jai Baba, everybody. This song was written by Dr. Soni's father, and he had sung in front of Meher Baba, and Baba had said it very beautiful. O safed kafni wale, O safed kafni wale, tum pe laakho salam, tum pe laakho salam, tum pe laakho salam, tum pe laakho salam. जग शांति का ये मोन लिया, ए महा तपस्या तूने किया, ओ मेहराबाद वाले, ओ मेहराबाद वाले, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम। मनमोहक है तेरी सूरत, जी भर भर देखे ए सूरत, ओ लंबे बाल वाले, ओ लंबे बाल वाले, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम। तुम साथे ये प्रीति जोड़े, उसका दुख दरिंदन तोड़े, ओ जादू नयन वाले, ओ जादू नयन वाले, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम। मेरी खबर ना तुम ले लेना, ए जग में मैं हूँ अकेला, ओ जादू नयन वाले, ओ जादू नयन वाले, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम। तुम बिन मेरा कौन सहारा, मुझे लगा हो ए भवसारा, ओ पवित्र चरणन वाले, ओ पवित्र चरणन वाले, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम। ये बालक की सलाम लेना, मुझे चरण की भक्ति देना, भवसागर तराने वाले, भवसागर तराने वाले, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों लाखों सलाम। ओ सफेद कफनी वाले, ओ लंबे बाल वाले, ओ मेहराबाद वाले, ओ जादू नयन वाले, तुम पे लाखों सलाम, तुम पे लाखों सलाम। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। I just wanted to explain you all about the meaning. Safed kafni is the long sadra which Baba used to wear. So he's saying, oh safed kafni wale, tum pe lakho salam. Then you all want to, I'll explain you if you want, otherwise it's okay. Then Jag Shanti ka ye mon liya. Baba took silence. So he's saying Jag Shanti ka ye mon liya. A mahatapasya tune kiya. You have taken such a big thing you have done by keeping silence. Oh Meherabad wale. He was, Baba was from Meherabad. So Meherabad wale, tum pe lakho salam. Manmohak hai teri surat. Your face is so beautiful that we feel like go on seeing the face. Oh lambe baal, your hair is so long. So oh lambe baal wale, tum pe lakho salam. Tum saathe ye preeti jode. We have joined hands with you. Uska dukh darinda na tode. Please take away all our sorrows. Oh jadu nayan wale. Oh magical, what to say, magician. Oh jadu nayan wale, tum pe lakho salam. Meri khabar na tum lena. Take my khabar also. E jag mein hu akela. I am all alone in this world. Oh jadu nayan wale, tum pe lakho salam. Tum bin mera kaun sahara. Without who is there of mine except you. Mujhe laga ho e bhav sara. In this ocean of, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we got the gist.
Okay, fine.
We have a few more people who want to share. Sorry about that.
Go ahead, Tina.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to sing a spiritual this morning. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For his eyes on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely, far from heaven and home? When Baba is my portion, my constant friend is he. For his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. So I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Tina. Beautiful. Marvin, go ahead.
Don't you have to? Shh.
You're good. Go.
Okay. Good morning. Well, I don't have a spiritual, but how about a little song? Once in love with Baba, always in love with Baba, ever and ever fascinating to you. He sets my heart afire every day. Once You're touched by Baba. Nothing could be finer. Don't bother with flowers, just enjoy the hours. Happily they'll turn right into days as he begins to show you all his ways. Once in love with Baba, always in love with Baba. He is such a blessing, this world would keep you guessing. Just enjoy illusion and the fun. Breathe deep and take your place next to the sun. That's it.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, thank you.
Baba.
Rashni, did you want to read something before silence?
Translation.
There's just 1 minute, so I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll go into silence then.
Yeah. We'll go into silence, and then I have a little announcement to make.
Okay. Jai Baba.
Atar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Jai.
Atar Meher Baba ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Jai Baba. So, okay. What is this? Okay. Thank you for all the lovely sharing, everyone. So we have a quick announcement. I want to show. 1 second. So please, this is a block your date announcement. We have on 4th October one of the first Zoom reading plays being done on our Circle of Friends Zoom ID. Shireen, My Mother of God, is written by Joe Di Sabatino, and we would love all of you to be there in a full house. So please be there with us on 4th October at 11 a.m. New York time, 8:30 p.m. India time. Have an early dinner, lovely Indian friends and Baba lovers, so we can be there for this fantastic evening with Baba and Shireen Mai. Thank you, Jai Baba. We will move on to our speaker for the day. We have dear Baba Lover Merwan Dubash, who is there with us. So I will share my screen once again for Merwan. Merwan, many know at Meherabad and across the world personally as well. He was born in Karachi in 1947 to Adi and Rhoda Dubash, who were very close Baba disciples. And Meher Baba had personally named Merwan as well. How fortunate that would be to have Baba's name for himself. And he was just 18 months old when he had first met Baba, including several other times where he was, blessed to be with Baba, including the Wadia Park Darshan, EastWest gathering, and various visits at Guru Prasad, Pune. So today, Merwan is going to share with us how Baba, being with Baba has influenced his life and how Baba has guided his path for his life. Thank you very much, Merwan, for sharing with us and being there with us today. I will keep sharing pictures that Merwan has shared with us in between his talk, and will now hand it over to Merwan.
Thank you, Roshni. Jai Baba, everybody. Well, Roshni's already given you an introduction to me, so I'm not going to tell you too much in terms of an introduction. Um, right now, we live in Toronto. My wife Ruby and I, we've been here for 45 years or more. But I was born in Karachi, as you saw there, and spent the first 20 years of my life in Karachi. And it was during that period which all my contact with Baba took place, in the first 20 years. In fact, it was the first 18 years, to be precise. So what today I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of the stories of being with Baba and some of the influence that Baba has had on me right through my life. These are things that happen at the moment when you're in front of Baba, but you really don't pay too much attention to it at the time. It happens, it's done. You say, yes, Baba, and it's finished. It's only years later when one sits down to give a talk or something like that, that you actually think about what's happened. And it's quite amazing to realize what has happened over all the time that one was with Baba. As Roshni mentioned in the introduction, I was named by Baba. I think 3 days after I was born, we got a cable saying, Rhoda Adi boy to be named Merwan. Blessings, Baba. That was the telegram or the cable. In those days, everything was cable. Of course, my dad was ecstatic. They named me Merwan, of course, and my dad was ecstatic. But my mother, Rhoda, at the time wasn't a Baba lover. And she sort of, she thought it was an old-fashioned name, you know, Baba could have given a better name and stuff like that. But of course, later, once Rhoda became all Babas, she wouldn't change that name for anything, she said. So she came around. You know, Baba had influence in a lot of the major decisions in my life. I had surgery when I was a kid, about, I don't know, 7, 8 years, tonsils. Today it's nothing. But in those days, you actually had to go into hospital. They actually did surgery and stuff like that. And before anything like that would happen, we would always take Baba's permission. So Baba was asked. And he said, yes, if the doctors want it, then do it. Just take good care. So that took place. It was done in Bombay out of interest, not in Karachi, in Bombay. And I'm a Parsi, and in the Parsi community, we have a Navjot ceremony, which is the initiation of the child into the religion, like a lot of other religions have. Now, my parents knew that Baba was not into rituals and ceremonies and things like that. But my parents were concerned that if my Navjot didn't take place, the Parsi community in Karachi would not accept me. At that time, the Parsi community in Karachi was quite against Baba. They were very anti-Baba. I mean, you know, they thought he was, I don't know, he was a fake, he was a fraud, whatever, like that. So they were concerned that if my Navjot didn't take place, I wouldn't be accepted and I would I would suffer and be taunted and whatever it was. So they wrote a letter to Baba saying, Baba, we realize that we know that you don't like rituals and ceremonies, but for these reasons, we think we would like to do Merwan's Navjot if you agree. Baba, the response came back that yes, go ahead and do it, but do it on one of these 3 dates. So Baba gave 3 dates for us to select. I pick one of these dates and do the Navjot on that date. So that happened. Regarding my education, I went to school in Karachi. And in 1960, when I was still in school, high school, we were in Guru Prasad. And Baba one day turns to me and says, have you thought what you want to do after school? So funnily enough, at that age, I had decided what I wanted to be. So I said, yes, Baba, I want to be a chartered accountant. I guess in the US, you call them a CPA. So he said, yes, you want to do that? I said, yes, Baba. So he said, so what do you have to do it?
So I said, Baba, you have to be a BCom and then you have to train to get your CA designation and things like that. So he said, where would you do it in Pakistan? They do it in Pakistan. So my dad pipes up and says, yes, they do, Baba, but the Pakistan degree is useless. It's not recognized anywhere. It's not worth much. So we were thinking of sending him to the UK. So Baba says, is there any other place other than UK? So I'd done all this research for some reason at that early age. So I said, yes, Baba, Canada is an option too. So then he asked some questions and I answered all of them. And then he thought for a few seconds and then said, okay, you do your BCom in Karachi. And then for your CA, you go to the UK. So that's what happened. I mean, once Baba says that, finish. You got to do it. And lastly, my marriage. I was married in 1972. That's quite a few years after Baba dropped his body. But again, he influenced it. Again, in Guru Prasad, this was in 1963 when I was only 16. I was in university by then. I was in university at an early age, still had a couple of years to go. And all of a sudden, Baba turns to me and says, have you thought about getting married? I was taken aback. At that early age, Baba asked me that, but before I could answer anything, my mom and dad were also in the room. So dad says, no, Baba, he's already married. So Baba says, what's he saying? So I said, Baba, I want to bheju khasi gaye in Gujarati. Our conversation with Baba was always in Gujarati. So I said, Baba, I want to bheju khasi gaye. It means he's gone crazy, he's gone mad. So all of a sudden, Baba becomes very serious. And he says, is this how you talk about your father in front of all outsiders? There were other people in the hall, of course, also a few people. Is this how you talk about him? Is this how you respect him? You say he's mad behind his back, things like that. So I said, Baba, you've always said that in your darbar, in your court, in front of you, you can say whatever you like about your mother, your father, brother, sister, anybody. So that's why, Baba. So he looks at me and he says, only here? I said, yes, Baba, only here, in front of you. So he looks at my dad and says, is that right? He won't say things like that about you outside. My dad said, he dare not, Baba. Dad was quite strict. So Baba says, okay, but only here. I said, yes, Baba. Then again, his seriousness disappears and he comes back to his normal self. So he says, what's she talking about? Being married to me? I said, so my dad says, Baba, we want him to be ready to serve you. We don't want him to be attached to anybody, this and that. So, because Baba had said something about me in the early days, but so they misinterpreted it or interpreted it in their own way like that. So Baba turns to me and says, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. If you want to get married, you get married. So that was the end of that. Now, at the time, like I said, Baba says it, you nod your head, you say yes, and that's it, finished. Never thought about it. Years later, the thought comes to me. Two interesting things in there that Baba said. One, he said, don't listen to them. Don't listen to your parents, which for Baba is most unusual. Normally, it's the other way around. Normally, he says, listen to your parents, do what your mother, respect your father, do this, don't go against them. And here he was saying the complete opposite. And the second thing that jumped out at me was that if Baba hadn't said that, at the time when I wanted to get married, and I would approach my parents, I'm sure there would have been big argument because they didn't want me to get married. So there would have been a huge fight in the family. And with one fell swoop, just with that little discussion, Baba finished all that off. So when the time came to get married, there was no opposition whatsoever because Baba had said, you can do it. And they accepted it fully. Now, as Roshni said in the introduction, I met Baba when I was 18 months old. The exact date is 31st December 1948. Very easy date to remember. And I only know the date because it's in Lord Mayor. I didn't remember the date or anything like that. No one remembered the date. And that was a very short meeting. Baba took me in his lap, played with me. There were other people from Karachi, my parents and other people from the Karachi group. And after that, I met Baba many times, and some, meetings of various lengths, some as short as 15 minutes. And then we had 3 long stays of him of 6 to 7 weeks in the 60s in Guru Prasad. So now I'm going to tell you some of the incidents that took place during these meetings, stories relating to these meetings with Baba. I'll start with 1960 at Guru Prasad. In 1960, Baba had, excuse me, I gotta take a pastille too. My throat's bothering me. In 1960, circular had come out that Baba was going to Guru Prasad in the summer months, which was his normal routine by then. And within a specified date, the circular said that Baba would give darshan on Sunday mornings to his lovers at Guru Prasad. So my parents hadn't seen Baba since 1958 now. That was the Savas in Meherabad. They were both now 100% into Baba, and they were thirsting to meet him. So they decided, we'll go, we'll take this opportunity and we'll see Baba at least on a Sunday for, I think the program was 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. So we went for a month, I think it was. So we would get to see Baba 4 times in a month. So we had informed Baba through correspondence with Iraj when we were coming, what train we were coming on, all these details. So we get to Pune by train. It was the Deccan Queen, which still runs today. And I think the Deccan Queen gets there 7:30, 7:45 at night in the evening or something like that. And we were taking our luggage off the train. We knew we were going to stay at Mobo's Hotel, which was like a 5-7 minute walk from Guru Prasad, right on Bun Garden Road. But we had no clue where any of these locations were because none of us had been to Pune. So all of a sudden, while we're unloading our baggage, we hear someone shouting, Adi, Adi. So we look around and we see Iraj. So Iraj had come to the station to greet us. So Iraj, we get to the hotel and Iraj makes sure we check in properly, we're settled in our room. And then before he leaves, he says, remember, tomorrow morning, be on time. In fact, be early, come early. So we said, yes, because the next day was the darshan program on a Sunday at Guru Prasad. So the next day we get there. We must have got there early, half an hour or something like that early. The main doors of the Guru Prasad hall, main hall, were shut. A line had already formed outside, but not a big line. The line was still on the veranda. It hadn't meandered still into the compound. So we waited. At the appointed time, you could see through the glass windows that a small door on the side opened. And Baba came through. He was in his pink coat, chadra, of course, and he was accompanied by his mandli and others who were with him. And he walks over to his chair at the end of the hall, sits in it, and then the doors open. And of course, the darshan starts. So when our turn came to take darshan, We bowed down to him, took his darshan. Baba asked the usual questions, how is your health? Did you sleep well, eat well? How was your trip? And then after all that, he turns to my father, Adi, and points to him and says, from tomorrow, you come daily at 8 in the morning and stay till 12. And then 12, when I go to the ladies' side for my lunch, you go have your lunch and be back by 2 o'clock. Because at 2 o'clock, I'll come back to the men's side. And then you stay with me till I retire back in the evening, which would be normally around 4:30-ish. And then he points to Rhoda and me, and he says, Rhoda and Merwan should come with you at 8 in the morning and leave at 12. So all of a sudden, what we thought was going to be a visit to see Baba only for 4 days in a month, Baba said, come daily. So this was just amazing. We were just totally overcome by this. What an opportunity he gave us. So we started doing that. Now, after about a week of going to Guru Prasad in the mornings, believe it or not, I started to get bored. I was a 13-year-old kid then, right? And I was very active. I mean, I'm not used to sitting in rooms for 2 and 3 hours listening to people talk. And that's what was happening in Mandli Hall with Baba. So I pestered my mom and dad to send me to Panjgani, which were some relatives there. And I had a great time in Panjgani. I've been with them before, so I wanted to go there. So I must have pestered them a lot because they eventually wrote off a letter. But now that they'd written a letter to the relatives, they had to tell Baba. So the next day, they tell Baba. They say, Baba, Merwan says he wants to go to Panjgani. So Baba makes a sort of a pained face like this and says, he wants to go to Panjgani? Why? So we say, Baba, he says he's getting bored here. So Baba says he's getting bored? Yes, Baba. So Baba thinks for a few seconds. He says, okay, in that case, he says, from tomorrow, let him come in the afternoons with Adi also. So I thought, now, boy, I'm going to get bored all day instead of only half day. But I was absolutely wrong. In the afternoons, the sessions were completely different. In the morning, as I said, people came, there could be 20, 30, sometimes even 40 people. We would be really cramped up in that small Mandli hall. And, they had questions for Baba. There would be some chit chat. Baba might give a discourse, something like that. So the whole morning would pass like that. The afternoons, completely different. In the afternoons, when Baba came back at 2 o'clock, there would only be a handful of people. There would be about maybe 10 people, sometimes more, sometimes even less. And first thing, Iraj would bring the day's correspondence. He would read it in front of Baba. And Baba would give the reply, or Iraj would say, I'll say this, and Baba would say yes. And then Iraj would go away to deal with the correspondence. And then Baba would look around the room and say, anything else? So if there was, he would deal with it. Otherwise, he would say, nothing else? Okay, that was Baba's sign for cards. So let's play cards. So the cards would come out. And Baba would play his game of Laris. I used to love playing cards as a kid, so I really enjoyed that. Then the other thing that in the afternoon, Baba used to do was, in those days, he would go for house visits to his close Pune lovers. He had told his Pune lovers that if you want, I will come and visit your house for tea. So of course, lots of them call them, and there would be at least one, if not two a week. And to the house visits, Baba would take an whole entourage with him. Normally, there would be 2 cars full of people that would go with Baba to the house visit. And sometimes if there was a 3rd car, 3 cars full would go to the house visit with Baba. And of course, we enjoyed that as well. So the afternoons, and also there are less people, so you can do more things. You know, there were the twins there. I was there, so the three of us would get together and we could do all sorts of stuff, whereas in the morning you couldn't do that with that many people. So I forgot all about going to Panchgani. And as my mom and dad said, you know, in 1960, Baba got me. That was it. After that, you couldn't take me away from him for anything. So I'll tell you an incident, funny one that happened in 1960. One day Baba comes in the afternoon and he turns to us youngsters and he said, "You youngsters are making too much noise in the afternoon. Pendu can't get his nap." Pendu used to sleep in the room next to Mandli Hall. And he needs to sleep in the afternoon because Pendu had never kept good health after the accident. So you have to be more quiet. So we said, "Yes, Baba." So we thought we had toned it down and everything. But a few days later, Baba comes and says, "I thought I told you to be quiet. Pendu still says you're disturbing him. And he can't sleep." So we said, "Sorry, Baba, we thought we had making less noise now." But he said, "No, it's not enough." So he says, "From tomorrow, if you are in Guru Prasad, the three of you are in Guru Prasad, between 12 noon and 2 p.m., you have to keep silent." So from the next day, between 12 and 2, we were silent. Then Baba says that, "I also hear that somebody is playing the harmonium. So do you know what that is?" So I said, "Yes, Baba, I'm the one playing the harmonium." So he says, "What are you doing?" So I said, "Baba, I was trying to learn to play the Gujarati Arti, your old Gujarati Arti, which is the one that Meher, the one that Rustam Irani, Adi Senior, Adi K. Irani's brother, had written for Baba." So he says, "You can play the harmonium?" I said, "Yes, Baba, I'm learning to play the piano. So the keyboard is the same." So he says, "Can you play it?" I said, "Yes, Baba, with 2 fingers, I'm able to play it." So he did this, which means, "Let me hear it." So I pull out the harmonium, I play it, and then Baba says, "Yeah, like," the expression was, "It's passable." It wasn't great or anything like that. It was passable. But then he says, "You know, this gives me a good idea. We'll play a joke on the women, on the ladies, which is the women mandali." He says, "We'll tell them that 3 famous kawals are the ones who sing kawalis, want to perform in front of Baba, and Baba has agreed. So they're coming to perform in front of Baba, and they should come and listen." So immediately he says, "Call Dr. Gavir." There was a bell inside Mandli Hall. You ring the bell. And normally Dr. Gavir would respond, if not Rano. So Dr. Gavir comes. So he says, "Tell Meera that on such and such a day at 3 o'clock, 3 famous kawals are going to come and they want to perform in front of me. And you all should come and listen." Baba pointed there because there was a door there where they sat behind the door and listened. So Dr. Gavir says, "Yes, I'll tell her." And then she goes, "Now, who are the 3 kawals? The 3 kawals are the twins and myself. Neither of us had a clue of kawali. Neither of us were into Indian music. After that, the twins started singing and all that stuff. But at that time, nothing. We had no clue of any of this. So now we're wondering what to do." Now see how Baba manages it for us. The next day, Adi Senior, Adi K. Irani, turns up at Guru Prasad. He was going to stay there for a few days because he had some work that he had to deal with Baba. So he was coming. So soon as he came, we nabbed him because Adi was a pretty accomplished singer in his time. He would sing ghazals, qawwalis, everything. So we said, "Adi Kaka, you have to help us. This is the thing. We're supposed to sing this qawwali. So he said, you guys are going to sing Qawwalis? So I said, oh, yes, we got to do it. So that's why we need your help. At least give us, we didn't even know a Qawwali. Give us some lines, some verses, something. So he said, okay, I'll help you. So he gave us 2 verses of a Qawwali, and he gave us the melody and everything else. And then he said, but that's enough now. I'm too busy. I can't give you any more. And he took off. So now every day after this, Baba would call Dr. Gaver at least once in a day and say, remind Meher that on such and such a date, these Qawwals are coming. They should be there. And Dr. Gaver would say, yes, yes. 2 or 3 days afterwards, Dr. Gaver said, but Baba, how many times are you going to do? You tell me every day. I keep telling the women, they're coming, they're coming. She was getting a little frustrated too. So the day comes, the appointed day comes. And Baba's organized this all pretty much in some detail. So he says, you 3 guys, you should wear some cloth around your head like a sort of a fat turban or something, so that you look a little bit like a Qawwali singer or something. So the Mandli found some cloth and wrapped it around her head. And he told Aloba that at 3 o'clock sharp, he says, you come to my door, because Aloba used to do outside duty. He would do gate duty. So Aloba was the right person to do it. So you come to the door of Mandli Hall and say, Baba, Baba, the Qawwals have come. And then he said one more thing. Now the way the setup was, Baba was sitting, let's say where I'm sitting, and on my right, a little in front of me, was the door to the veranda where the Qawwals would come in from. And on the left side, directly in line with Baba like this, would be the door going to the women's side. And behind that door was where the women Mandli would sit, with Meher. So, and the doors had slats, wooden slats. So if you turn the slat down like this, the women Mandli could see in, but nobody could see Meher. So they would sit over there. So Baba said, you do one thing. When you come in, don't look at me. Because if you look at me, the women Mandli are directly opposite and they'll recognize you immediately. So he said, turn your face away like this when you come in. So we said, yes, Baba. So the appointed day comes. 3 o'clock, Aloba comes rushing to the door in a typical Aloba fashion. He says, Baba, Baba, those Qawwals have come, those Qawwals have come. So Baba says, okay, come on, bring them in. I've been waiting for them, bring them in. So Aloba comes to us, we're sitting out in the veranda over there, all with the so-called turban and everything on our head. So Aloba says, come on. So we go in. Now when we go in the hall, you have to, acknowledge Baba in Naman to him. So we did our Naman this way because we had to turn our face away. So we couldn't look at Baba and do that. We turned our face away like that. And the harmonium was put in such a way that it was on the opposite side of Baba to where the ladies sat. So they didn't get a clear view of us. So we sat down at the harmonium, we warmed up. You have to warm up the harmonium, you have to warm up the voice with the oohs and ahs and all that sort of stuff. And then we sang. We sang the 2 verses and finished. So Baba said, finished already? We said, Baba, we only know 2 verses, that's it, finished, we don't know anything more. So Baba smiled and said, okay. So then he turns to the women and does the sign like this, meaning, did you like it or what did you think? So that was that incident. The next day, Mani comes over to the men's side and she says, Baba really had us on that joke because we were really anticipating to hear some good Qawwals, good Qawwali music. But there was one thing that kept niggling in the back of some of our minds, that Baba just told us 3 Qawwals are coming. He didn't give the names. Normally he would give the name of the Qawwali party and all that so that they know. But we thought, never mind. But she said, as soon as you opened your mouths, the game was up. We knew that Baba had us for a joke. And then she says, Meher was so upset when you came in the room and you did your naman to Baba, but you turned your face away. He said, look at those people, look at them. They're not even looking directly at Baba. What's the matter with them? She said, Meera was most upset. So we said, yes. So he said, Baba told us to do that, otherwise you would have recognized us because you were right in front of us. So she laughed. I guess she must have gone and told Meera eventually. I don't know, but I'm sure she did. So that was that incident. Now we spent 6 to 7 weeks with Baba in 1960. And we were there till he went back to Mirzapur. And Baba's normal practice in those days was on the last day. The day he was leaving, he would leave early in the morning, but he would make a stop under Baba Jan's tree at Ban Garden. Today that whole area is all fenced off and everything else, but in those days it was wide open. So Baba made a stop there. Of course, hundreds of people would come to take his last darshan before he went off to Meherabad. I'm now going to talk about my experience in the 1962 EastWest gathering. Don't forget, these are the experiences of a young kid, teenager. In 62, I was 15 years old, right? When we got the circular for the program, we also got an invitation from Baba that we should come, and my parents should come as volunteers. And my parents responded back saying, Baba, we'll definitely come, but Merwan's final year school leaving exam, which was the senior Cambridge O-level exams, are about a week or 10 days after the darshan program, so he might not be able to make it. So they apparently got a cable back from Baba saying that Merwan must attend at least for 2 days. Now they played it really smart. They never told me that. What they told me instead was that we'll only take you for the darshan program if you study hard. I never used to study hard. I would come home from school, do my homework and run off and play with my friends. Just bare minimum homework, never studied hard. But that year I did. So when the time came to go to the program, my parents left and they left me with my aunt, mom's elder sister, a very nice lady, not a Baba lover. So she tried to coax me into staying and not going because she said, you know, your exams, if you don't want to go, she thought maybe I was being coerced into going. So she said, if you don't want to go, you'll make an excuse and say you're not well, and we'll send a telegram. Then you don't have to go. You can stay and study. I said, no, don't do that. I want to go. Then she realized that I really wanted to go. I wasn't being forced to go. Now, at that time, as I mentioned, the Parsi community was very anti-Baba. And of course, when the news got to them that my parents were going to take me for Meher Baba's darshan like a week or so before my final exams, there was a huge hue and cry. Look at those foolish parents. How silly can you be? The child will suffer. He won't be able to study properly. He may not pass his exams. What's so special about Meher Baba? All this sort of stuff like that. Anyway, I get to Pune on the 31st. The darshan is on 1st November, 1st to 4th. So I get there. I'm only going for the 4 days, and I'm going last minute and coming back immediately because of my exams. And the next morning is the darshan. Sorry, the next afternoon, first afternoon. The morning was only for Westerners. So my parents went in the morning because they were doing volunteer duties with the Westerners, taking them to the hostels, transporting them, bringing them back, and like that. So when they came back for lunch, they tell me, Baba said that, why didn't you bring Merwan? I said, what? I was supposed to come and you didn't take me? They said, no. We told Baba also that nobody told us that we had to bring Merwan, so we didn't bring him. So Baba said, no, no, you bring him in the mornings also now. So my dad said, Baba, I'll go and get him now. So Baba said, no, not now. Now let it be from tomorrow, bring him in the morning. So I missed that morning. Of course, what was I doing in the morning? I'd taken some books of mine to study, but who can study? I'd open the books. I sat in front of them for about 3 hours, but I didn't take in anything. My mind was with Baba at Guru Prasad. They also gave me a little badge, a big badge actually. So the volunteer badge. Apparently Baba had put my name on the volunteer list. The Pune Center was organizing this. Baba had given my name to the Pune Center to put on the volunteer list. So now I had this big badge and I was a volunteer. Now, who would take a 15-year-old kid as a volunteer in their group? Nobody. So I was really a volunteer at large. I would, in the mornings, I would assist my parents with, taking the Westerners back and forth to Guru Prasad. And while at Guru Prasad, I would run errands for the Mandli. If Baba wanted something, Baba wanted someone call, someone found, do that. Mandli wanted something, go send a cable, telegram, something like that. I would do things like that. And in the afternoon, my duties were mainly to do with controlling the queue. Men's side, of course. Now, on the first day of the program, and most of you probably have seen the 1962 EastWest Gathering movie, Baba was up on the stage. On the first day, they had his chair in the middle of the stage. So to get to Baba to take his darshan, the crowd had to go up the stairs on the side. Now, the line up to the stairs was fine, but then getting up the stairs to Baba was a massive rush, pushing, shoving, everybody wanting to go. So the volunteers had a huge, difficulty controlling that, holding hands, not letting people go through, only one at a time. And that was a big problem. From the next day, somebody was smart and moved Baba's chair right up to the edge of the stage so that nobody had to go on the stage. Now you just move on the floor, on the ground only in front of Baba and bow down to him and move on. So that became much easier from the second day on. Now, what I remember is that on the first day, Iraj made an announcement that Baba says that there were 5,000 people seated in front of Baba. And there were thousands of others coming to just take darshan and go. So Baba said there's going to be big crowd. So nobody should take darshan more than once. So I heard that. And the first day after the darshan ended, Iraj also made another announcement. Baba says that please everybody should leave now, and until everybody leaves, I will sit in my chair, I will not leave. So Iraj then says, please, I'm asking everybody to leave as quickly as possible because Baba is extremely tired. He's been doing this from early morning, all day, had little rest. And of course, Baba's health wasn't good. So that announcement was made. At the end of the day, after the darshan ended, the first day, the vast majority of the crowd left as soon as they could. But that hardcore of about 50 or 100 pilgrims all rushed towards the stage where Baba was sitting. And the volunteers had anticipated this. So they'd form a human chain in front of the stage about maybe, 20, 25 feet in front of the stage so that they couldn't get too close to Baba. And then we had to coax these people, beg them, hands joined, please leave, because Baba's sitting there, he's so tired, please go, so that he can go inside. And this must have taken 20 minutes to half an hour before most of these people left. And then only when maybe a handful were there, Baba would get up and go inside. And this same scenario repeated itself all 4 days. Also, on that first day, when I was in that chain, holding back the people at the end of the day, Baba must have seen me. So while I'm in that chain, holding back these 50 or 100 people from getting too close to Baba, somebody taps me on the shoulder. So I look around and he points to the stage. So Irach is at the edge of the stairs. He's calling me. He says, come on, come on. So when I get there, he says, Baba wants to see you. Because I hadn't met Baba till then. I hadn't gone in the morning, and in the afternoon, I'd gone straight in the program. So I hadn't had a chance to meet him or greet him. So I jump up on the stage. Baba does that to take his darshan. I bow down at his feet. He asks me the usual questions, how are you, keeping well? And then very quickly he says, now go do your duty. So I jump back off and I join the volunteers again. Now, the way the EastWest gathering was organized, groups came from different cities, different towns, and they all were scheduled to take their darshan at different times, different dates. So the Karachi group was scheduled to take their darshan, I can't remember, on the second or third day at a particular time. So the day before, my mother reminds me, remember, tomorrow at this time, it's our darshan day. Don't forget, make sure somebody takes your duty and you come and join the queue. I said, I'm not coming. She said, what? I said, remember, the announcement was made, Baba said only take darshan once. I took my darshan for Baba. He called me and I took my darshan. So she said, no, but Baba called you, that's different. I said, I don't know about that. Baba said once, I've done it, finished. So she says, Adi, look at him. He's saying he's not going to come. So we had a big discussion. I refused. I said, no, doesn't matter what they said. I said, Baba said once, I'm not going again. So they said, okay, look, tomorrow morning we'll ask Irach to clarify. I said, fine, I agree. With Irach, I agreed readily. So next morning, we got an opportunity. And because Irach was also very busy at that time, but got an opportunity. So we asked him very quickly. So you see, immediately Irach said, no. He said, Baba can call you as many times as he wants. He can call you 10 times. But your one darshan is your own right, in your own right. So you can go and take that. So I said, okay, that's fine then. So I went and took that darshan. Otherwise, I wasn't going. And of course, what I haven't mentioned about the 1962 darshan is the rain. But everybody mentions that, it rained very heavily on the first day. We all got drenched. There was also rain on the second day, actually, which drenched some of us, but it wasn't that heavy and wasn't that bad. So these are some of the events that I remember around the 62 darshan program. Now, I had to return to Karachi immediately. So on the evening of the 4th, I left. And by the 5th, my mother and I were back in Karachi. Dad had stayed back because he wanted to do something in Bombay, I think. Now, a couple of days after getting back to Karachi, I started running high temperature, 104, 105. And mom started doctor initially couldn't diagnose what it was. And mom started getting a little concerned because the exams are just around the corner now. So she cabled Baba. And we get a cable back from Baba. I'll read a portion of it only. It says, whatever happens, don't worry. Be resigned to my will. Tell Merwan not to worry if he cannot appear for examination now. So and he also sent this to my father who was in Bombay and told him to go back to Karachi immediately to help. So when we read this cable, we thought, that's it, finish. The exams are gone. I'm gonna miss it. Now, of course, our famous Parsi community in Karachi, when they heard this, they went absolutely wild. Look at these parents. The poor child now is not going to be able to write his exams. They've destroyed his career. His whole school year has been wasted. This, that meherbaba. what was so special? All this, just huge hue and cry in the community. We were the villain. My parents, more than me, were the villain of the piece in Karachi, in the Parsi community. Now, eventually, the doctor diagnosed that I had a very severe case of measles, which is what it was. And now the examination started. It was going over a 3-week period. So I miss a couple of practicals, like a language practical where I had to talk to an examiner, a laboratory practical in chemistry. I miss a whole paper in English literature. But the way the exam is structured is you had to pass 6 out of the 8 subjects that I was taking. So I still had a chance. So my mom would give a daily report to the doctor. And one day the doctor says, you know, Mrs. Dubash, Merwan's infectious period is over. He can sit for his exams now if he wants to. So mom said, what? She was taken aback because she didn't know about this. So quickly she and my dad talk, and then they come to me and say, now sit down, listen to this carefully. But before you make a decision, think hard. Don't make a rash decision. I said, okay, but tell me what it is. So they said, doctor says, you can take the examination. You're no longer infectious. And I was improving also. I wasn't normal or anything like that, but I was improving. And they said, remember, you haven't studied for 2 weeks since you've been to Baba's darshan. You haven't been able to do anything. So think about it. You don't have to make a decision quickly. You can take your time. I said, yes, I'll think hard. I did. 2 seconds I thought, and I said, I'll take my exams. So I did. To cut a long story short, they made all the arrangements with the principal and this and that. There were some interesting things that happened, but we don't have the time to go into that. And while all this was going on, we get a cable from Baba saying, how is dear Merwan? Did he sit for the examination? Like he didn't know. And when the results came, it surprised everybody, including myself. Not only had I passed, but I passed first class. First class, I guess in North America is equivalent to honors, distinction, whatever it is, I'm not sure. I was never a first class student in my whole school career, or even afterwards in university, never a first class student. That was the only time I passed first class. So in 1963, which is the next year, we go to Guru Prasad. And after meeting Baba, first day we get there, we greet Baba and sit in the hall. Baba turns to my mother, Rhoda, points to her and says, tell everyone about the incident and what the incident about Merwan's Cambridge exams and what the Parsi community had to say. So Mom narrated the whole story. And then when Mom had finished telling the whole story, Baba says that Merwan did my work among the Parsis very well. So that was that incident. Do I have time for another 5-10 minutes, or do you want me to stop for questions?
You have, you have quite a few minutes, so you can do that.
Okay.
After about 9 minutes, we will do the Dhun, and then we will continue with the Q&A.
Okay. So the next story I'm going to tell is about our 1965 visit at Guru Prasad. We'd also gone in 63, but 1960 and 1963 were very much the same, although there were many incidents that happened at the time, which are, stories in themselves. But 65 was very unusual, so that's why I'm going to narrate that. We knew we were going all day. From now, we would go every day to Baba. And in 1965, on May 1st, Baba did the official opening ceremony of the Pune Center. And then another 5 days, I think, there was a darshan program in Guru Prasad, same location where the EastWest gathering was. I couldn't make it for that because I had my university exams going on in that period. And when Baba had asked us to come and asked my parents to come as volunteers. They said, Baba, we'll come, but Merwan has his exams. So the response was, okay, then let him come after the exams are finished. And the three of you can then stay till I go back to Meher. So we did that. Now, by then we would also be having lunch in Guru Prasad. So we never left Guru Prasad. We were from 8 to 4:30 or so, we were in Guru Prasad only all the time. My dad and I would have lunch with the men Mandli, and Mum would have lunch with Baba and the ladies inside. 1965, Baba's health was not good at all. Although if you see the film of the Pune Center and the Darshan program, he looks radiant and great. But after that, like the Mandli used to say, after the programs are finished, Baba would go back to normal. And his normal then was not good at all. He was very frail. His hip joint was really bothering him a lot, so much that he didn't want to get out of his bedroom and his bed many days. So he would not come into the side Mandli hall too often. So we would go and sit in his bedroom with him. And not only that, but the main difference in 1965 also was that there was hardly anybody there. And at the time, you know, I never thought anything of it, never thought to ask anybody why or anything. It's only after Lord Mayor was written and I read it, did I realize that after the Darshan program, that 65 Darshan program, Baba went back into seclusion. So that's why he was in seclusion. So there would be literally a handful, 5 people in the morning maybe, you know, Irach, my dad, myself, Pendu and Aloba, that too when they had time, because they had their chores and their duties to do. So if they had time, they would come, and maybe an occasional 1 or 2 people from outside would come for work or this or that. Nobody else. Everybody from Baba's family, from Bindra House, Irach's family, all his close Pune lovers, the close Bombay lovers, nobody was there. And that was for the whole period of 6 to 7 weeks. Now people ask, how did you pass your time? Of course, with Baba, there was always something or the other going on. Despite the fact that he was in seclusion, he was actually, one of the things he was doing was making arrangements for a tour of India. And those details were being discussed, where to go, what to do, who to take with him, the people to take with him, like that. So there was always activity around him. And in the afternoons, there would only be Irach, my dad, myself, and Meherji would join us. Meherji was also one of his mandli, as most of you know. Now, Meherji had a business in Pune. So in the morning, he would look after his business, whatever had to be done. And then after lunch, he would come to Baba for the rest of the day. And that's all in the mornings. Rarely would anybody else. Bhau was also with him in Guru Prasad, but Bhau was doing his writing then. And he would rarely leave his room. He would be up in his room writing all the time. So my dad would read the newspaper to him. And unexpectedly, 2 weeks before the end of our visit, my dad got a cable from his father. The two of them were in partners in business together, asking him to come back to Karachi urgently because, you know, business was getting very busy or something like that. Now, my dad knew that my grandfather was getting old and he really wasn't an emergency. And he told Baba that. But Baba said, no, your father's called you, you go. So he had to go. And then when my dad left, Baba turned to me and said, now you read the newspaper instead of your dad. So I would read the newspaper too. So now there would only be Irach, myself, and Meherji. Irach would sometimes leave because even in seclusion, there would be the odd correspondence coming and you would have to attend to that. So he would read it to Baba and go to do it. And if sometimes Meherji was late coming, there would be only me and Baba in the room. And then Baba would turn to me and say, now come on, there's only 2 of us, read the paper. So I would read the paper to him. So this was a most unusual, but very, very intimate visit with Baba in 1965. very different from the other two. I can tell you, the next thing I was going to tell you is a quick story about my mother throwing a challenge to Baba, but I might overrun.
Yeah.
Do you want me
Could
to
we
stop?
we can do the Dhun and the Arti and then continue Merwan with the story and the Q&A.
Okay.
Baba, Meher 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 Baba. Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba.
I'm hearing the sound. Roshni? Now there's no sound.
Earlier there was sound and some people said they couldn't hear, so I was...
Anyway, it's all right. Let's say 3 meherbabas and then we'll carry on.
Just if you can give, just give 2 seconds, please, if you can.
Meher Baba, 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 Meher Baba.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Oh, glorious, eternal, ancient one, your face is a bright transcendental sun. Lighten this dark world and the tears I weep. My heart, Meher, I give to you to see. Creator, yet creationless you are. Truth and truth's body, divine avatar. Through compassion, the three worlds maintain. Destroy this ignorance that life sustains. These five lights are the whirling strokes of breath of the world's wheel that bears me unto death. Unless you are infinitely kind, break the wheel of which is conditioned mind. This incense is my love, these fruits my heart, which to please you I have shaped from my heart. Accept them as you would a simple flower that has no use beyond its shining hour. You are myself, I sing to you in praise, and beg your love to bear me through the day. Till you, the ever-living perfect one, illume my darkness with your shining sun.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। We'll have 1 minute of silence. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Jai Baba. Apologies, Baba, and apologies to everybody else. Merwan, we can continue with your story, and then after that, please raise your hands or write in the chat if you would like to ask any questions or anything else to Merwan. So we can continue with your story.
Thanks, Roshni. So I'm going to tell you a story about a silent challenge that my mother made to Baba. This is a challenge about her wedding day. When my mother Rhoda married, she was not a Baba lover. And she, in fact, after going with my dad for many years, only found out much later that he followed Meher Baba. So she was taken quite aback. But she decided she would continue. She loved him too much, so she would continue and take him away from Meher Baba. Of course, it worked out the other way. Now, some days though before, so Meher Baba was on her mind. And remember, this is in the the situation where the Parsi community was against him, saying all sorts of bad things about Baba. So a few days before a wedding, my mother throws a silent challenge to Baba. And she says that if you really are who you say they are, then you will send me your blessings on my wedding day. And then she says she threw the challenge and then she completely forgot all about it. Now the wedding day dawned, it was the 1st of July. July is a hot month in Karachi. Karachi is a drought area, even worse than Nagar. 10 inches of rain was about all we would get in those days, a year. And July dawn, 1st July, blue sky, sun beating down, hot as that can be, just like a normal typical July day. But my father says suddenly in the afternoon, black clouds started forming over. It was like somebody was literally pushing them over. And by about 4:30, it started to rain, pouring heavily, cats and dogs. And Karachi is never prepared for heavy rain, even today. So within an hour, hour and a half of such rain, the streets were flooded. Some streets were like waist-high water and things like that. So the wedding, which was supposed to be held in outside gardens, were completely washed out. They had to be moved indoors quickly. Mom says that I think 800 or 1,000 guests were invited or something like that, of which only about 150 turned up, only close family and friends. And everything was washed out. Now, while on the way to the wedding in a car, my mother was with her mother and a very close family friend. The three of them were driving to the wedding. And all of a sudden, with all this stuff going around, my grandmother, Mom's mother, started crying. She burst out crying. And the family friend sitting next to her said, "Why are you crying? Why are you crying? God has come to your daughter's wedding." And my mother says that when she heard that, she remembered her challenge. But she said with all the stuff going around, chaotic at that point, she said she immediately forgot about it again. So 18 years later now, 18 years later in 1963 in Guru Prasad, Sarosh Irani and Vilu, you know, Sarosh was Baba's Mandli. His son and his fiancée had come to India to get married. So on their way to Nagar, they stopped and took Baba's darshan. And while they were there, Sarosh said, "Baba, please give me your blessings on our wedding day." So Baba nodded. And then they went off to Nagar. On the day of, by the way, Sarosh's son's name was also Merwan. So on the day of Merwan and his fiancee's wedding, Baba tells Iraj, "Just go and find out, call Sarosh and find out what's going on." So Iraj goes, calls, he comes back, so Baba says, "What happened?" So he says, "Baba, Sarosh is shouting on the phone. Tell Baba it's raining cats and dogs in Nagar." He said, our wedding that we had arranged outdoors is all been washed out. We now have to move to a hall. Everything is been washed out. So Baba sort of acknowledges it, didn't say much. The next day, the couple come to take Baba's darshan with Sarosh and Vilu, of course. And after they take Baba's darshan, Baba says, ask how did it all go? So Vilu bursts out saying, "Baba, what did you do? Everything was washed out. It rained like crazy. Never rains like this in Nagar." So Baba said, "What can I do? Your son asked for my blessings and I gave it." Then the three of us were also in the room at the time. He turns and he points to my mother, Rhoda. And he says, "Ask Rhoda what happened on her wedding day." And my mom says that she just was taken so aback. She was just gaping like this. And she said 2 reasons for that. So one was I'd never told anybody about this challenge. It was a silent challenge to Baba. She hadn't told my dad or me or anybody. And the other thing she says is that now, after 18 years, God himself is telling me that it was I who gave you that blessing. So she's just sitting there, and Iraj then says, come on, Rhoda, tell the story. So she tells the story. And then after she finishes, Baba says, but you forgot to tell them one thing. You forgot to tell them that after throwing the challenge, you forgot all about it until you were on your way to the wedding. Even that little detail he remembered and pointed out to her. So that's the short story.
Thank you so much, Merwan. That's really wonderful. Does anyone we have space for about time for one or two questions before the next powerful program begins? Anybody has questions to ask? Okay, I will ask. So, Merwan, were there any, staying with Baba with the Mandali, there have always been challenges on obedience. Was there anything like that that Baba had asked you to do, which was a challenge for you as a young boy, or anything later on?
He gave me lots of orders as a young boy, but it was never a challenge. It was always a pleasure to do it. Like I have about 7 or 8 orders from him. And, you know, in 1960, he told me that I couldn't ride a bicycle any longer in India. There's a story behind that. Then in 63, there was a whole bunch of orders that came. I couldn't, he stopped chicken for all 3 of us. Again, there's a story behind it. I was doing something weird with my face. He asked me to stop making faces. Again, there's a story behind that. And then one day, just sitting in front of him, all of a sudden he turns to me and points to me and he says, this, which is alcohol, cigarette, gambling, and this is women. And that was Baba saying for stop. So Era translates and says, Baba says no alcohol, no cigarettes, no gambling, and no womanizing. So he stopped all of that in one fell swoop, just like that. And then he gave me one more when I was in England, which came by a letter from Iraj, which is quite a personal one about sex. So he's given me all these orders, but it's never been a challenge. It's always been, by his grace, it's always been easy to keep. Of course, once in a while you slip up without realizing it, not knowingly, without realizing it. But yes.
Thank you so much. Myrtle, you want to please ask?
I want to just comment. You are such a good storyteller, and it was wonderful to hear all these stories. And about your mother's challenge, that was story she told me on the first visit that I had in 1988 in Meherabad, and it was so moving. So it's very beautiful that you told this story again. Thank you.
Thank you,
I remember your mother and your father, and I remember how he didn't go into the samadhi at the end of his stay there. He just used to stand at the door and look, and he was so shiny. He was something, and your mother was also very, very special. So thank you for the stories.
Thank you.
Merwan, we have one last question maybe, which Zubin is asking in the chat, that has Baba asked you to do anything which is yet to be accomplished in your lifetime? And
No.
if it is so, what is it that you need to do?
No. Short answer is no. No. I guess the one that, I mean, some of these are continuing, right? These orders stand forever. So you're always keeping them. The orders that he gives you don't go away. They're there for life. So, but there's nothing he asked me to do that I haven't done like that. Nothing like that.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone who would like to sing or ask something still? We have about 7 more minutes. Any other question or anybody wants to sing or share? Thank you, Merwan, for being with us,
Welcome, Roshni.
sharing these wonderful stories.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much, Merwan. It's just beautiful. All the stories are just so sweet.
I would love to sing if nobody is there.
Everyone can unmute if they like. And
Thank you, Merwan. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Yes, yes.
Hey Baba Merwan, good to see you and hear
Hey,
your
God, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba,
Jai
so
Baba, thank you.
Jai Baba, Michelle.
Thank you. Yeah, we were in Mehrabad with you and Ruby in 2011, long time ago. But
Yeah.
hopefully you'll come down to Chicago once all this lifts. Maybe come and visit.
Well, we've been going 6 months for the last 15 years now, but whether we make it or not this year, thanks to COVID, I don't know. It's suspect.
Yeah, Baba.
Right.
Hey, Jai Meher Baba Merwan.
Merchan, Jai Baba.
It's Merchant Nori. Jai Meher Baba, how are you?
Jai Baba. I'm fine.
See you soon in India.
I don't know this time. I don't know because.
Just pray to Baba.
Oh yeah, well it's in his hands always, so it's up to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yep.
Jai Baba.
बाबा तेरो नाम मेहर तेरो नाम बाबा तेरो नाम मेहर तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे ओ भगवान बाबा तेरो नाम मेहर तेरो नाम बाबा तेरो नाम तू ही राम है तू ही है अल्लाह तू ही राम है तू ही है अल्लाह तू ही बुद्ध है तू ही कन्हैया तेरे नाम की पूजा करके तेरे नाम की पूजा करके मैं जाऊं धाम तेरे नाम की पूजा करके मैं जाऊं धाम बाबा तेरो नाम मेहर तेरो नाम बाबा तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे ओ भगवान बाबा तेरो नाम मेहर तेरो नाम बाबा तेरो नाम तू ही हंसना तू ही है रोना तू ही हंसना तू ही है रोना तेरे दामन में सर झुक के सोना तेरी परछाइयों में तेरी परछाइयों में गम जाए गुम तेरी परछाइयों में गम जाए गुम बाबा तेरो नाम मेहर तेरो नाम बाबा तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे ओ भगवान बाबा तेरो नाम मेहर तेरो नाम बाबा तेरो नाम ओ मेहर कर तू मेहर meher, ho meher, kar tu meher, ho meher, kar tu meher, ho meher, kar tu meher, ho meher, tero naam. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय. Thank you everyone for a wonderful evening. Thank you Baba for bringing us together in his love again and again.
Hey Baba. And the
Jai
night is
Baba.
not over.
Beautiful. So beautiful.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, Ruth, go ahead and
All right. Well, it looks
I'm
like
gonna
we're on.
just hit mute all for a second.
Wonderful program. Thank you very much. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
And the recording, it looks like it's on pause, so I'll go ahead.